In the past, it was much more unconscious. So what's happening now in this day of age, which she's happy about, and she's smiling and she's doing this, okay, is there's much more consciousness, awareness. There are many more awakening on earth. She's using the words TikTok is producing a lot of awareness, transparency that you're not going to see from the news. Now she's talking about, say for example, the governments pay off the media. The media produces a lot of what the governments want us to hear. But now we're going to these apps on our phones and we are picking up information that is coming direct to us from the ground or from the source or from the people. And this is bypassing the power and control taking place through the media from the governments and higher ups, even higher than that. And she loves this. They all do on the other side. Hello and welcome everyone. I'm just coming on live here on my Facebook page, Kristin Davies. And today we're going to be talking about what are they up to on the other side in regards to assisting us here on earth. So that will be the angels, the archangels, our spirit guides. And today we're going to talk about what is it that they're orchestrating on the other side for us in regards to what is transpiring on earth. It's about the kind of help that they're offering us while we're going through this, while the 1%ers on earth are potentially dragging us into states, places that we don't want to go. Although I'm assuming maybe some people want to go, but I think most people don't want to go. Okay, so let's see where we're going to go. Now, when I tuned in with my guardian angel, she's the one that's going to take the lead. So we're going to let her take off with this and see where we're going to go with this. And then I'm going to take your questions. If you have any questions about what's happening behind the scenes is what I call it. I remember for years the angels would say to me that we're working behind the scene of your life, Kristin. So whatever you're asking your angels for, whatever you're complaining about, guess who's working behind the scene of your life? They are. They are working on whatever issues, problems you are complaining about, praying about, or asking them to solve. Okay? So this is just like that. They are orchestrating or working behind the scene of our lives to assist us while we are going through this time on earth right now. So let's see what they'd like to say. I would like to introduce myself. I am Kristin's guardian angel, Agnes. She has often described my appearance as Galadriel, as you have recalled in the past. And this is accurate. She's cracking me up. Okay. Note, in the future, in the days ahead, rocky times are upon us. And she's talking about some things are out of our hands. So are you talking about things being out of our hands, the people, or are you talking about things being out of Spirit's hands and we're just going to let the free will zone free will on earth and take things off into the distance? Both, but mainly it is a free will zone. So unless we decide accordingly, as Kristin has said, the 1%ers will decide for us. And she's talking about there's going to be more skirmishes, more problems, more uprisings, and more bucking the current. So there's going to be more issues within the countries that we live. And then there's also on the outside of our countries, keeping others in check, keeping them in line. Now, make note, I don't think this way. Okay, I'm not the one saying these words, and I'm sure she doesn't even. But the reality is, the 1%ers that are running the show are the ones keeping things in check. Believe that anything is possible. Believe that you can manifest, achieve the desires, dreams, and wishes that you so produce within your mind, your thoughts. Anything is possible. So if you wish a different outcome, this will be the time, this is the time, correction, for you to step forward and produce from your free will the prayers and the requests as to how and or what you wish to see unfolding on earth at this time. She's talking about in the past with other wars that we've had on earth, there was a significant more unconsciousness taking place. So you did what you were told, you stepped out onto the battlefield. It was more one-to-one combat rather than what they're doing now with these drones, planes, ships. It's more from a distance. But in the past, it was much more unconscious. So what's happening now in this day of age, which she's happy about, and she's smiling and she's doing this, okay, is there's much more consciousness, awareness. There are many more awakening on earth. She's using the words TikTok is producing a lot of awareness, transparency that you're not going to see from the news. Now she's talking about, say for example, the governments pay off the media. The media produces a lot of what the governments want us to hear. But now we're going to these apps on our phones and we are picking up information that is coming direct to us from the ground or from the source or from the people. And this is bypassing the power and control taking place through the media from the governments and higher ups, even higher than that. And she loves this. They all do on the other side. It's just a matter of monitoring how much you take in and how much time you spend on these apps, okay? So if you feel that you're feeling drained, tired, and she's also chuckling and saying that some of these apps are quite addictive. If you need to delete them off your phone for a time, so be it. You can check in at a later time. But ultimately, when it's all said and done, okay, and this is what I keep hearing from my team, and she's going to say this. The first world countries, and she really highlights the United States, and she's highlighting Canada. They talk about it in ways of, this is where a lot of light is coming. So this is where a lot of higher vibrational souls will choose to be born. This is where the light is placing its attention. This is where it's placing its focus. This is where it's amplifying. Okay, so these areas are ready for more of an amplification of the light on earth. And so when we look at the countries or the leaders of these countries, they've got, they keep showing me this, they've got more cards up their sleeves to play. Look, I got another card, I'm playing another card. So they keep showing me this, cards up their sleeves. And then on the other side of it, the light that is wanting to build in these areas will win out. So she wants to remind us that no matter how bad we think things are at this time, just a reminder that we will make it through this. We will get to the other side. Things will improve. However, for a time, it is going to get bumpy. It is going to get rocky. And what they'd like us to do is to if we need to move in with family members, if we need to take in tenants. The other thing I'm getting with taking in tenants is you can take in tenants that are coming, from a country where they're just coming here and they want to learn English, for example, or they're taking some classes and, they're here for a time. International students. Thank you. Okay, I'm getting this. But whatever you do, make note that if you see others in need or help, ask them if they need help. Ask them if they need assistance. Yes. Yesterday, my partner and I were coming out of the grocery store and we noticed the car next to us with the hood up. So, we made a point of saying, do you need any help with your car? Do you need a jump? And, oh, no, we're fine. And we said, okay. But it's a matter of asking if anyone needs any help. She says, because many of us, we won't ask for help. So it's important to see if anybody needs any help. Now we'll move in the direction of what is going to be orchestrated on the other side. What they're going to do, and what they've already begun doing, is bombarding the planet with a lot more light. And this is coming through sources such as solar flares, CMEs from the sun, purposely washing over the planet, and other long-range, large masses of light frequency, which we could call source frequency, washing over the planet. The other thing that's happening is the planet herself is also sending out pulses of light or her high vibrational frequency to impact and affect us. It's just that some individuals are not as easily impacted by this light frequency as others are. Some are very set in their state of mind. They have a certain way of seeing things, believing things, and rigidity, and it's very difficult to shift that, okay? Hence why we are where we are right now on Earth with what is transpiring at this time. Don't worry about what is to come, just note. If you need to lean on each other, help each other, ask for help, and ask others if they need help. And what I'm also seeing is there's a potential of food shortages in the future. I've been seeing this for a time. She's sharing that with me as well. And also there may be supply and demand as far as, we might notice certain things just not being made anymore. So you might have your favorite shampoo or your lipstick or a piece of clothing. It might not be produced in the future, or it might not be coming in. So if you think about it, if the economy gets a dip, which they're telling me it will, it's not going to be the 1930s all over again, but it is going to dip. And so for a time, there will be a lot of small businesses, for example, online businesses, just won't be able to produce the product any longer. How long can grocery stores supply certain foods from certain companies when people are penny pinching and not buying these products anymore? If certain products, like if you're cutting out olives, you're cutting out pickles, you're cutting out anything that could be, not necessary, these companies can't produce this product anymore. They are amassing more assistance, more help to Earth during this time. They would prefer that this stage that we're about to go through isn't as intense as previous wars on Earth. And I am seeing that the US does not want to go through war, but things are getting to the point where they're trying to be the big brother or the big sister for other countries and keep them in line. But if things get out of hand, then they will take more drastic action. And many other countries will follow suit to support them. And I feel very strongly and I've felt this for some time now, not just right now, but that is what's going to have to happen. forcing of the hand. They're trying to do proxy wars at this time, like work through or operate through other countries to fight these battles. Certain decisions and choices that are being made aren't always best, but this is humankind. This is the free will zone of Earth. She says the way that everyone here on the other side would like to have it is very peaceful, very loving, very supportive, but we're just not here yet in the awakening process on Earth, and it's going to take more time. But remember, your prayers, your requests, your thoughts being sent out are heard, and they do impact the overall. So please send them forth. The other day I was sitting in the car and I get this overwhelming sensation of sadness, which I don't usually ever get. 99.99999999999% of the time, the angels are in a place of pure bliss and elation and positivity and pure light and love. But when they see what's happening on Earth, okay, I get this somberness, I get this sadness, and that tells me that there's something coming that they're not happy about. Should Europe be more concerned about these changes than the USA? She's talking about those in charge, those in command, will try to isolate and keep this contained and use swift measures so that it is not dragged out. She's talking about ammunition, and it's really going to be a pooling together to get the ammunition needed to secure. The overall goal is that we don't take what isn't ours, or if we looked at the perspective, it's all about perspective. If we went and looked at the perspective of others, they would say, well, that is ours, and we're going to do whatever we want, and we're going to take whatever we want. But once that precedence is set, it makes everyone else uneasy, isn't it? Doesn't it? So she wants you to know that for those of you in Europe, and she's showing this to me, is very contained. It's not going to spill out into other countries and impact others in other countries, and this is how they want it to be. And she's also doing this again, okay? The U.S. has to win because this is where freedom is much more so than other locations, okay? Or at least the feeling of freedom is, and if you don't believe in that, okay, sweep it aside. You don't believe in that. Bare minimum, believe in this. The light is building in the U.S. Even if you go and you look at Lorna Byrne, who has written Angels in My Hair. She's been here for over, I think she's got to be 60 now. And the number one thing that she hears when she sees the angels is that everything begins in the USA. So I really see the light backing the USA. Now, if the light was going to build in some other country or at some other location, then I'm sure it would back that location. But the frequency of energy is higher on the west coast of the USA. This is what I keep receiving over and over and over for years. And we might say, well, no, it's not. But in comparison to other locations, this is what I see. I see the light targeting the west coast of the USA. And the other thing I get pertaining to Europe is the US has a lot of cards to play out of its sleeves. So even when you think that there's no winning or down for the count, think again. And again, she's talking about the US acting or being like the big brother, trying to help others, and then at times trying to control others and misbehaving. She's talking about big brothers don't always behave, do they? Okay. The souls that are very high vibrational, they keep telling me this, are going to be born in the USA. for generations. This isn't just about now. It's not just about 10 years from now. It's not about 100 years from now. It's not about 500 years from now. It's not about 1,000 years from now. It's about all the way out and what's coming. This is just a little snippet, okay? They would prefer that we resolve this peacefully. The U.S. would prefer this too, though those in the higher up arena, the 1%ers. But the hand will be forced. This is such an interesting question, Annie, in regards to growing your own food in your own gardens, because I was watching this, I've been so drawn to like forest gardening, and I'm watching all these programs on YouTube, and they're growing their own fruit, and also seed stocking. So you get all like thousands of seeds from all over the world, and you make sure you don't let them die out. And so all these farms are doing this all over the world, in Mexico, Hawaii, like all over. And when I'm watching this, Source comes through the top of my head and says, this is the future, Kristin. There's going to be people that have forest gardens and or mass gardens of greenery grown everywhere on Earth. And this will be a major top priority. So as far as us growing gardens in our own prop garden, our own yards, if you have the stamina and the will to do it, she's smiling. Where I live, everybody talks about earthquakes all the time. But when I tune in with spirit, they're like, no. We might get little ones, yeah. But we're not going to get any like monumental ones where part of the earth just breaks off into the ocean. I'm not getting any of that. Not in my lifetime. Okay. We might get some smaller ones, yeah. But nothing like, I mean, they make movies off of these things. Holy crap. You watch movies and you're like, oh my God, is that going to be us next? No. And people will message me and they're like, this other medium said that we're going to have major earthquakes. Kristin, you better be warned. And I'm not warned. I'm not warned at all because there's nothing to warn me about. And I've gotten small little earthquakes. I've felt 3 small earthquakes in 20 years that I've lived here. So yeah, I'm going to go with the angels on this one. As far as forest fires are concerned, those are going to increase. There's going to become more dry areas. And this is why it's imperative to get out and start, you know, if any of us feel this need to do forest gardening, to build green spaces on Earth, do it. Why do we build green spaces? This is what I learned on these programs last night. Because it doesn't make sense. Why are we planting trees when we don't have enough water and there are giant rivers drying up in India and all the smaller tributes flowing into the large river are drying up, and there's a lot more dry, barren wastelands being developed. So there would be no way to swim across this river when you were younger, but when you are of this age, now you can walk across the river. It's barren. For 4 months out of the year, there's no water. That's not good. So what's it going to be in years or 2 down the road? And what I learned is trees hold water. They hold it. They absorb it. So if you have a lot of flooding, the trees will absorb it and take it in and hold it into the earth. And if you have dry times, the trees will use the excess water in the ground. Look at all the number sequences we're all counting out. 111, 333. Isn't that beautiful? 111. Good, better days are coming down the road. Okay, so is 1111. So if you're seeing that, there's some good changes coming. And 333, the Trinity is here supporting us. So I look at that as Jesus, Mother Mary, and Mary Magdalene, and they're listening to this conversation, and they're all supporting us, okay? So if you really need help, big help, you'll call on the Trinity and they will help you. They'll help you in ways you can't even imagine. I'm telling you. I brought in Jesus once and I thought, well, let's take it for a punt. I'm not religious, but let's see what he can do. I learned I'm asking Jesus again. So the trees create moisture. It holds the water in the land. It produces fruits and vegetables. And then you can grow turmeric and banana trees and all sorts of amazing plant life under the trees. And it all works together. So the message here is sometimes we don't want our loved ones to go through certain things. We don't want them to suffer. But sometimes either their souls signed up for this through their contract, or they are learning from these situations. So this is a learning. Okay, she's not able to breathe due to MS. Okay, so this is telling me something. Like when I had ulcerative colitis, I knew my soul signed up for that. And the suffering was immense. I had my large intestine removed. I had a little poopy bag for a year. Then I had another surgery. And then I had a J pouch installed. Well, it's not installed. They make it out of your small intestine. And the beautiful thing is, I thought, oh, they kept telling me my B12 would drop because the lower part of your small intestine absorbs B12, and now it's being used as my storage facility down there, if you know what I mean. But my B12 has been great this whole time, so I haven't had any problems. But I knew I was signing up for that to learn through. So I feel it's the same thing, and they're telling me it's the same thing with your mom with MS. There's a lot that's being learned through that suffering. With breath, breathing, can we open that up for her or guide her in a direction that will help to make that easier? Ooh. Yes, this request will be granted. Your mom is going to be guided accordingly. When you get an idea in your mind, Tammy, to try something new for your mom, do it. And it's going to be the angel guiding you. It'll be an idea or a thought, and they're going to pop it into your mind. Oxygen tank. She might already be on one, but this is what I'm receiving. It's not her time yet. So don't feel that it's her time to exit. It's not. It's just a period of struggle, which can and will be improved. Thank you, Kristin. They're very, very matter of fact with your mom's guardian angel. Okay. And I want you to make note, if you're going through a really hard time, like I went through a very hard time for years, trying to get my health back on track, and thank friggin' God, every day I thank God, that we have a surgery where we can just remove the large intestine and make my quality of life so much better. Because there are a lot of people that have fibromyalgia or MS or something else, and they can't have a surgery to remove the issue and be good again. So I just recognize that the suffering teaches you, right? It does. And I also recognized when I would turn to my angels, nobody was feeling sorry for me. And I was being ground into a pulp. There were some days that were so bad, and then I would do a complain bitch fest, because let's be real, it was terrible. So then they will step in and help you. But no one's feeling sorry for us. Sometimes I wish they did. Can't you just give me a little? But that's not how they're helping us. And here's the other thing. In a broader perspective of what this experience on earth is from your soul's perspective, this is it. Watch. It's less than that, she says. So you can imagine your soul has been in many different vessels, not just human. And your soul has been in many different areas, physical and non-physical. And so from the broader perspective of your soul, we're learning through this, but from the broad perspective, it's this, less than this. She always says this to me, less than this in the entirety of what you're experiencing here.